Bring in Republican Senator from Tennessee, Bill Hagerty. He serves on the Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, always good to have you. Good to see you. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Certainly, Martha. Good to be with you today.
So let's play a little bit from what we heard earlier as we get ready for this. And this had to do with the question of joining NATO for Ukraine. Watch.
Well, I could be very nice and say, oh, well, we'll work to it. Look, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. That's what started this whole thing.
I mean, it's fascinating to hear that, Senator, because it is very clear in the president's approach for decades. We've heard, well, maybe Ukraine will join. It's been a horrible sticking point between Russia and Europe and the U.S. for a long time.
Yes, and indeed, it has been a sticking point. I think what President Trump has done in many ways is completely shifted the dynamic, Martha. He's finding a new place and, frankly, giving Vladimir Putin more room to negotiate to get to a place where President Trump wants him to be.
So tell me a little bit about, he also praised Putin in the conversation that we just heard. He said we get along really well. It's a fraught situation. We know that Putin invaded Ukraine. It was bloody and vicious, and the tanks rolled in on three sides of the country. And he wanted to take Kyiv and was unsuccessful. So how do you see these talks playing out with Zelensky? And then we expect he will meet with Putin eventually as well.
One thing I'd point out, Martha, is that Trump's relationship with Putin has been quite different. You recall during Trump's first administration, Putin did not take aggressive actions like this. It was under Obama that Putin came in and took Crimea. It was under Biden when he came in and had the most recent invasion and launched the war in Ukraine. Things can be very different with President Trump, and I think he's setting up the circumstances so that they will be. So I won't be surprised at all to see President Trump and President Putin talk. I've been with the two of them before, and I can say this, Martha, there's a great deal of respect from President Putin toward President Trump. And I think President Trump is going to leverage that respect to get to a deal that's going to be better off for all concerned. He's been clear at the outset. He wants this carnage to come to an end in Ukraine. Ukrainian people have died. Their country has been decimated. He wants it to end. He wants it to end under terms that are more favorable to the U.S. taxpayer. I think that's going to come clear tomorrow. And by having more U.S. investment in Ukraine, Ukraine will be more secure and in a better place going forward.
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting emergence of what will likely become a Trump doctrine, the way that he is trying to spread economic strength and prosperity for the United States in a number of different directions. And in some ways, it's not dissimilar from what we have seen from China and we have tried to work against, because they have had a lot of Belt and Road expansion all over Latin America and Africa. Is that the way you see it? Is this Greenland, Panama, Gaza, potentially Ukraine, a whole new way of looking at foreign policy?
Martha, it certainly is a way that I look at it, and I think President Trump has a similar view. A strong economic foundation is at the core of our diplomacy. A strong military presence atop that. And when you have a strong economic relationship, a strong military posture, then diplomacy is effective and it's possible. That's the approach that President Trump is taking. In terms of comparing it to the CCP and their Belt and Road Initiative, I might take a different tack there. The CCP uses what they call debt trap diplomacy. Yes. They come in making very strategic investments, often ones that countries can't handle. They often use corruption as a tool, as a weapon. I think when you look at the United States, and particularly conversations President Trump and I have had directly, what we look at is providing, for example, clean U.S. LNG to other parts of the world. That is a geostrategic tool that we can use that makes everyone better off economically and also aligns our economic interest, our energy interest, and our national security interest at the same time.
I totally agree with you that the Belt and Road has been, sort of like a hard knuckle down on so many of these countries. But it's been something that the United States hasn't really responded to in its own very different United States sort of version, which I think is what we're seeing here, that would hopefully lead to the prosperity for all of the countries involved. Everybody can see on the right-hand side of the screen that we're waiting for this news conference to get underway. This is the formal version, questions for each side with the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom and President Trump. I want to just play this. Let's play this number 4, which with regard to something that President Trump called Zelensky the other day and caused a lot of a stir. Watch this.
Mr. President, do you still think that Mr. Zelensky is a dictator?
Did I say that? I can't believe I said that. Next question.
What's your reaction to that? And clearly the strong language, in part, perhaps, got to the end of this deal that we're going to see tomorrow.
Martha, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what President Trump said. My feed, I guess, wasn't loud enough, but I could.
So the question was, do you still think that President Zelensky is a dictator? And President Trump's response was, did I say that? Next question.
President Trump, if anything, is a world-class negotiator. And as I said, he tries to find a position to get on different footing. He's been trying to get President Zelensky to the table on this critical minerals deal. We had him very close, then suddenly he wasn't there. Now we're back where we need him to be again. And on Friday, I look forward to see this deal come forward. It may be even more than just a critical minerals deal. But President Trump has been negotiating in his own style to get Zelensky back here in the United States, signing up to a deal that's going to be better for all parties.
Would you be in favor of a deal with the United States and Russia on aluminum, which Putin has suggested?
Well, aluminum is a critical national security interest for the United States. We have aluminum interest in my home state of Tennessee. I want to see the industry stronger here. And from a national security standpoint, I'm very focused on maintaining U.S. production of aluminum.
Okay, excuse me. I'm just looking off to the side because we're watching them file in and we're getting close to this news conference. Senator Hagerty, always good to see you, sir. Thank you very much.
Martha, thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Good to be with you.